Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. First, I want to apologize for my hair. I'm gonna do something about it, but not quite yet. But in this video, we are replacing the vapor canister purge valve. Here is the new part, and this is what it looks like. And we will be working around this area. We basically have to kind of get underneath the manifold right there. We will not be removing the manifold, but we will need to remove this whole air box. So I just finished replacing this part. This is pretty much the end for me, but I am inserting this clip in the beginning because I want you guys to watch the whole video before you start this procedure. You could learn how to do it, and then you could also see what would work best for you. We are going to start with this sensor here. You'll need to lift this up with one hand or finger and then pull the sensor off with the other. There you guys see this little piece right here. So this is where you're pulling it off of, and then the sensor will come out. And then we could start loosening this clamp. You could use a flathead screwdriver, or it looks like maybe a 6mm socket, maybe a little bit smaller. I was right. For me, it is a 6mm. If someone has been in here before, they could have changed the clamp, so it could be a different size, but the goal is to loosen it so we could slide the housing off. Okay, going back to this. So this is a 10mm. So my plan is just to remove this whole housing so I have plenty of space to get to that valve there. So there's our first one and number two. So see, it's a lot looser now. And we could take it off here. Now we'll just have to disconnect this rubber hose from this plastic housing. Once you get this hose off, basically just push it back, it'll snap off. Disconnect this plastic housing, and you could pull the whole airbox assembly out, and this is what it looks like. Next, I'm removing this additional hose right here, and same thing, I use the 6mm. Yours might be different. It came out from right here. Now here comes the painful part. So you guys can see I disconnected one portion, so that connector actually goes on top right here, and this is essentially how this valve sits. So with that, you have to disconnect this connector and then take it off this bracket and then reach up and disconnect this hose. So again, using this as a reference, this is where I just pulled off this clamp right there, and it goes up right here. So if I take my hand, it's actually underneath this electric junction box. Next, we are going to remove the power steering reservoir, again 10mm. Just like so. We can place that aside, place that here, take this off. So we have a nut and a washer. We'll place them up here for now. And now we should be able to slide this off. And what you want to do is actually lower this, have it come out from underneath, and then we could place it here. Something like this. You could even kick it back a little bit further. Use zip ties if you'd like to, kind of hold it out of your way. Now we have access to the throttle body housing, which is right here. We have one more rubber housing to take off. Again, I am going with my 6mm right here, just loosening that clamp a little bit, like so. And then we could just wiggle this off. And this I'm just placing here because we have another hose, and this will be way out of our way. Next, we have 4 10mm bolts in here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. I'm touching it with my finger. Next up, we have this connector right here, and you just push it from the side right there. I'll put an arrow, and then this just pulls back like so. And I got these 10mm bolts pre-loosened, so I'll take those out, and then the throttle body housing should come out. Here's our throttle body. These are the top bolts, these are the bottom bolts, and this is what we're working with. So here is our second connector that we will have to remove. This is this hose right here, and it's located right here, and as you guys can see, we can now access it with ease. We could reach back here. There we go. It's kind of at an angle, so it's a little bit difficult to remove, but there we go. One of our last steps is we will have to remove this whole electrical box, essentially, off of these brackets. There's one right here. Let me get some light. So there's one there. There we go, with no indirect light. You guys see those? With the flathead screwdriver, basically just pry up on these right here, 1 and 2, and then gently just slide it off. And this will expose our sensor right there. Sorry, not sensor, but valve. And this is our valve. And here is our old one compared to the new one. In order to get this disconnected, there's a pin that kind of looks like this. Literally just kind of push in and then pull back, in and back, and this will come out. And then this rubber part, slide it towards you. So it's essentially sitting like this. Kind of wiggle it around and slide it off. It's sitting on a metal bracket through this hose. As you guys can see, this is kind of a rubbery material. And then this will come out. And this is the connector that you'll push in. So you see this metal bracket, you essentially just push it in like this, push it in and pull back to take it off. Very, very simple. In and then back to get it disconnected. Now to put everything back together, basically work reverse order. This is much, much easier. As you guys can see, I already connected the bottom connector, and then I slid it on the metal bracket, connected the top one. Now I'm connecting the junction box or the electrical box. Next, install the throttle body. Then we have this air hose, which has cutouts that essentially go on like this. There we go. Now tighten the clamp. Next, I connected that bottom connector. I'll show you guys on this one. This one right here at the bottom, and the connector that goes in has a rubber O-ring. I genuinely really struggled. I couldn't get it over this, so I actually sprayed some WD-40 on the rubber seal, and it clipped in half a second. So I guess that's a little trick. Next, connect the throttle body connector right here. Next, I am going to do the power steering reservoir. If you guys remember, we have a washer and a nut. There we go. Oh, that one is upside down. There we go. And I'll actually tighten this a little bit later. Now we could put this center air hose in. And again, we kind of have cutouts. I'll show you guys. This little knob right here. So that will slide in together. More or less use that as a guiding point. Next, we have the main air box. So make sure with all of these hoses, you connect everything properly so it fits, so there are no holes, because if there will be holes, you will get a check engine light. And then connect the sensor. Lastly, I have 2 of these, and then tighten that, and I am all done. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this video helpful. The procedure itself is a little bit long, but it's honestly not very difficult. And everything is easy to take apart. Everything is very easy to put back together. It just takes time, but it's worth it, especially if you have a check engine light on. But I hope you guys leave this video a thumbs up. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate your time, and I will see you guys in another video.